Question 1. Space jurisdiction and governance. While investigating a complicated issue between different nations regarding space debris management, an international dispute arises over jurisdictional authority. A satellite launched by Country A, registered under Country B, and operated by a private company headquartered in Country C malfunctions and causes damage to a space station belonging to Country D. Country D seeks to bring claim under the Liability Convention 1972. Under established principles of space law, which entity bears primary legal responsibility for damages caused by the satellite? A. Country A, because it is the launching state under the Outer Space Treaty 1967. B. Country B, because it holds the registration of the satellite under the Registration Convention 1976. C. Country C, because the private company headquartered there was operating the satellite. D. Country D, because it has assumed the risk by maintaining a space station in orbit. Answer A. Country A, because it is the launching state under the Outer Space Treaty 1967. Explanation. Under Article Roman of the Outer Space Treaty 1967 and Article of a Liability Convention 1972, liability for damage caused by space objects is primarily assigned to the launching state. The term a launching state is defined as a state that launches, procures the launching, or from territory or facility, a space object is launched. Since Country A launched the satellite, it assumes absolute liability for damage on Earth and fault-based liability for damages occurring in outer space. Country B, option B, is incorrect because the Registration Convention 1976 assigns responsibility for tracking and control of space objects but does not transfer liability from the launching state. Country C, option C, incorrect because while private entities can operate space objects, international law holds states responsible for national space activities, even when conducted by private companies. Outer Space Treaty, Article Omen Sir Country D, option D, is incorrect because maintaining a space station does not imply accepting liability for damages caused by another nation's space object. Question 2. Commercial space activities and legal framework. During a major transformation where existing methods of asteroid resource utilization are evolving, multiple private companies claim rights to mine and extract valuable minerals from an asteroid located in the asteroid belt. While Company X is registered in a nation that has enacted domestic legislation permitting space resource extraction, Company Y argues that the activity is illegal under international space law. Based on the principles of space law, which legal argument is the most valid? A. Company X can lawfully extract and own resources from the asteroid because its national law allows it and no international treaty explicitly prohibits space mining. B. Company Y is correct that resource extraction is illegal under the Outer Space Treaty, which prohibits appropriation of any celestial body, including its resources. C. Both companies must obtain approval from the United Nations before engaging in mining activities. D. Private companies cannot engage in space mining unless an international space authority is established to regulate and distribute resources equally. Answer A. Company X can lawfully extract and own resources from the asteroid because its national law allows it and no international treaty explicitly prohibits space mining. Explanation. The Outer Space Treaty 1967 Article Omen 2 prohibits national appropriation of celestial bodies, but does not explicitly prohibit the extraction and utilization of resources. The U.S. Commercial Space Launch Competitiveness Act 2015 and similar legislation in Luxembourg and the UE affirm that private companies can extract and own space resources under national laws. Option B is incorrect because while the Outer Space Treaty prohibits sovereign claims over celestial bodies, it does not clearly prohibit the extraction and commercial use of resources. Option C is incorrect because no existing mechanism mandates direct approval for space mining operations. Instead, national laws govern commercial space activities with international oversight. Option D is incorrect because there is no international space resource authority regulating space mining, though discussions under the Artemis Accords and other frameworks suggest future governance mechanisms. Question 3. Space security and military aspects. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges arise due to increasing geopolitical tensions in space, Country X develops and tests an anti-satellite, a SAT weapon system that destroys a defunct satellite in orbit. The test results in thousands of debris fragments threatening active satellites and the International Space Station. Other nations argue that this action violates international space law. Based on existing legal frameworks, what is the strongest legal argument against country X's actions? A. The test violates the Outer Space Treaty 1967, which mandates the peaceful use of outer space and prohibits the use of weapons in orbit. B. The test is unlawful under the Liability Convention 1972 because it creates space debris, making country X liable for any future collisions. C. The test breaches the Moon Agreement 1984, which prohibits military activities in space, including weapons testing. D. The test is permitted under customary international law, since no treaty explicitly bans the destruction of satellites for national security purposes. Answer A. The test violates the Outer Space Treaty 1967, which mandates the peaceful use of outer space and prohibits the use of weapons in orbit. Explanation. The Outer Space Treaty 1967 Article establishes that space must be used for peaceful purposes and prohibits the placement of nuclear weapons or any other weapons of mass destruction in orbit. While it does not explicitly ban ASAT tests, these contradict the spirit of the treaty's peaceful use principle and create significant risks for other space users due to space debris. Option B is incorrect because while the Liability Convention 1972 establishes liability for damages caused by space objects, it does not explicitly regulate deliberate ASAT tests. However, it may apply if debris from the ASAT test damages another nation's satellite. Option C is incorrect because the Moon Agreement 1984 applies only to the Moon and other celestial bodies, not to Earth orbit, where the ASAT test occurred. Option D is incorrect because while no treaty explicitly prohibits ASAT tests, customary international law supports the principle of preventing space debris and ensuring responsible use of space. Additionally, UN resolutions and the long-term sustainability guidelines of the UN Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space (CUPEAS) discourage such activities. Question 4. While investigating a complicated issue between different spacefaring nations regarding liability for space debris, a major dispute arises over the interpretation of the Liability Convention 1972. A privately owned satellite, registered under State A, malfunctions and collides with a government-owned satellite of State B, causing significant damage. State B demands full compensation under absolute liability, while State argues that since the satellite was privately operated, fault-based liability should apply. Additionally, State claims that due diligence was exercised in ensuring the satellite met all operational safety standards before launch. In light of the Liability Convention and international space law principles, which of the following arguments is legally correct? A. State is correct because absolute liability only applies to government-operated space objects, whereas private entities are only liable if proven negligent. B. State B is correct because absolute liability applies to all space objects, regardless of private or governmental ownership, as long as the damage occurs in space. C. State is correct because fault-based liability applies to damages occurring in space, and operators are not automatically liable under the Liability Convention. D. State B is correct because the Liability Convention makes the launching state responsible for all damage caused by its space objects, regardless of private ownership. Answer. D. State B is correct because the Liability Convention makes the launching state responsible for all damage caused by its space objects, regardless of private ownership. Explanation. The Liability Convention 1972 establishes two distinct liability regimes: absolute liability, applied when a space object causes damage on Earth or to an aircraft in flight. Article omentum. In such cases, the launching state is without the need to prove fault-based liability, applied when damage occurs in space. Article omentum. In this scenario, the injured state must prove that the damage resulted from fault or negligence. In this case, the damage occurred in space, so fault-based liability applies. However, State is still responsible because the Liability Convention defines the launching state as responsible for all space objects registered under its authority, if privately owned. This means that private ownership does not absolve the launching state of responsibility. Thus, option D is correct because State remains responsible under international law even if the satellite was privately owned. State must either compensate State B directly or hold the private operator accountable under domestic law. Question 5. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs (UNOSA) is tasked with refining the Registration Convention 1976. Due to inconsistencies in space object tracking, Many states fail to register their satellites properly, creating jurisdictional issues when space debris needs to be traced back to its origin. If a nation refuses to register a satellite, which of the following legal consequences applies under existing international space law? A. The state loses its right to claim ownership of the space object, and any other state can claim salvage rights over it. B. The state violates its obligations under the Registration Convention but retains ownership and liability over the object. C. The space object becomes res nullius, ownerless property, and it can be freely used or dismantled by other states. D. Failure to register a satellite makes the launching state exempt liability for any damages it causes. Answer. B. The state violates its obligations under the Registration Convention but retains ownership and liability over the object. Explanation. The Registration Convention 1976 requires states to register their space objects with the Unsecretary General to establish jurisdiction and enhance transparency. However, failure to register does not mean the state loses ownership or liability over the object. Option is incorrect because space objects are not subject to salvage laws like maritime vessels. The Outer Space Treaty 1967 affirms that launching states retain ownership of their space objects. Option C is incorrect because space objects cannot become res nullius. Even if an object is not registered, it remains the property of the launching state. Option D is incorrect because the Liability Convention 1972 holds the launching state accountable for any damages caused by its space objects, regardless of registration status. Therefore, option B is correct. Failure to register space object violates international law but does not exempt the state from liability. This ensures accountability even in cases of non-compliance with registration rules. Question 6. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional failures, a dispute arises over the legal status of asteroid mining under existing space treaties. A private company, Space Harvest Inc., plans to extract resources from an asteroid and sell them commercially. However, a coalition of states argues that this violates the Moon Agreement 1984 and the Outer Space Treaty 1967, which emphasize the outer is the common heritage of mankind. The Space Harvest Inc. counters that the treaties do not explicitly ban resource extraction. Based on current space law, which argument is most legally valid? A. Space Harvest Inc. is correct because the Outer Space Treaty does not explicitly prohibit the extraction and sale of space resources. B. The coalition of states is correct because the Moon Agreement explicitly bans commercial exploitation of extraterrestrial resources. C. Space Harvest Inc. is incorrect because the Outer Space Treaty prohibits private ownership of space objects, including extracted resources. D. The coalition of states is incorrect because private companies can claim sovereignty over extracted materials under national laws. Answer A. Space Harvest Inc. is correct because the Outer Space Treaty does not explicitly prohibit the extraction and sale of space resources. Explanation. The Outer Space Treaty 1967 states that outer space, including celestial bodies, shall not be subject to national appropriation of autogomentur. However, it does not explicitly prohibit private entities from extracting and utilizing space resources. The Moon Agreement 84 introduces the principle that space resources are the common heritage of mankind and require an international legal framework for resource exploitation. However, very few major spacefaring nations, including the US, Russia, and China, have ratified the Moon Agreement, meaning it lacks widespread legal enforcement. Option B is incorrect because the Moon Agreement is not binding on most major spacefaring nations. Option C is incorrect because while ownership of celestial bodies is prohibited, ownership of extracted resources is a legally ambiguous area that remains under debate. Option D is incorrect because sovereignty over extracted materials is not explicitly granted under international law, though some national laws, such as the U.S. Commercial Space Launch Competitiveness Act of 2015, allow private companies to claim resources they extract. Thus, option is correct. While the Outer Space Treaty prohibits sovereignty claims over celestial bodies, it does not explicitly ban resource extraction, meaning companies like Space Harvest Inc. can legally extract and sell resources unless new international laws are established. Question 7. In the process of analyzing a system that requires a high level of precision, a new space traffic management protocol is being proposed to prevent satellite collisions in low Earth orbit (LEO). The International Telecommunication Union assigns orbital slots and radio frequencies, but no single authority enforces active traffic coordination. A private satellite operator, Global-Sat, argues that under the Outer Treaty 1967, no state or organization can restrict its satellite movement once launched. However, Coalition of States argues that international law does allow for coordinated space traffic rules. Which of the following legal arguments is the most accurate? A. Global-Sat is correct because freedom of exploration under the Outer Space Treaty prohibits any restrictions on satellite movement. B. The Coalition of States is correct because international law allows for traffic management coordination to prevent collisions. C. Global-Sat is incorrect because private satellite operators must submit to the jurisdiction of the United Nations under the Registration Convention. D. The Coalition of States is correct because there is no legal framework for regulating space traffic under international law. Answer. B. The Coalition of States is correct because international law allows for traffic management coordination to prevent collisions. Explanation. The Outer Space Treaty 1967 ensures the freedom of exploration and use of outer space, Article I, but this freedom is not unlimited. States are required to conduct activities with due regard for the interests of other space actors. Article Roman option is incorrect because while freedom movement is principle of space law, it does not exempt satellite operators from collision prevention measures. Option C is incorrect because the Registration Convention 1976 requires registration but does not impose operational traffic control. Option D is incorrect because multiple international agreements, such as the ITU regulations on orbital slots and radio frequencies, contribute to space traffic management. Thus, option B is correct. States and international organizations can coordinate space traffic management to prevent collisions while respecting the freedom of space activities. Question 8. After conducting a detailed review of a policy that governs international collaborations, an issue arises regarding liability in joint space missions. State X and State Y launch a jointly operated space station module, but a technical failure causes debris that damages a third-party commercial satellite from State Z. Under the Liability Convention 1972, how is liability assigned? A. Only State X is liable since it was the primary manufacturer of the module. B. State Y is solely liable as it provided the launch vehicle for the mission. C. Both State X and State Y are jointly and severally liable for the damage. D. State Z must prove fault against either State X or State Y before claiming compensation. Answer. C. Both State X and State Y are jointly and severally liable for the damage. Explanation. The Liability Convention 1972 states that when two or more states jointly launch a space object, they are jointly and severally liable for damages caused by that object. Article V. This means option is incorrect because manufacturing does not determine liability under the convention. Option B is incorrect because launching a vehicle does not automatically transfer sole liability. Option D is incorrect because absolute liability applies to damages caused in space. Article Roman III, meaning no proof of fault is required. Thus option C is correct. Both State X and State Y share full legal responsibility and may need to settle liability between themselves under separate agreements. Question 9. While reviewing an incident involving unexpected risks, a major aerospace company, Astrotech, faces legal challenges after an autonomous robotic mining vehicle malfunctions on the Moon. The vehicle, registered under State A, destroys a communications relay operated by State B. Astrotech argues that because the Moon Agreement 1984 is not widely accepted, no clear legal framework governs lunar operations. State B argues that international space law still applies. Which legal principle is the strongest argument for State B? A. State is exempt from liability because the Moon Agreement is not widely ratified. B. State B is correct because the Outer Space Treaty prohibits harmful interference with another state's space activities. C. Astrotech is correct because private companies are not subject to international treaties on space activities. D. State B must seek permission from the United Nations before filing claim against Astrotech. Answer. B. State B is correct because the Outer Space Treaty prohibits harmful interference with another state's space activities. Explanation. Even though the Moon Agreement 1984 is not widely ratified, the Outer Space Treaty 1967 applies to all space activities, including those on the Moon. Specifically, Article Roman of the Outer Space Treaty prohibits harmful interference with the activities of other states. Option is incorrect because even if the Moon Agreement is not universally adopted, the Outer Space Treaty still governs space operations. Option C is incorrect because private companies are subject to international space law through their respective launching states. Article Oman Section D is incorrect because claims under the Liability Convention 1972 do not require an approval. Thus, option B is correct. State Beacon claimed that Astrotech's activities violated Article Roman of the Outer Space Treaty, which prohibits harmful interference. Question 10. During an evaluation of ethical considerations in technological advancements, a controversial debate arises over the militarization of outer space. A defense contractor develops a satellite equipped with directed energy weapons for missile defense, raising concerns among multiple states. The contractor argues that defensive space-based weapons are not explicitly banned under international law. Which legal principle most accurately applies? A. The Outer Space Treaty prohibits all military uses of outer space, including missile defense systems. B. The Outer Space Treaty bans the placement of weapons of mass destruction but does not explicitly ban conventional weapons in orbit. C. All military activities in space are illegal under the Moon Agreement. D. The United Nations Security Council must approve any space-based defense systems before they can be deployed. Answer. B. The Outer Space Treaty bans the placement of weapons of mass destruction but does not explicitly ban conventional weapons in orbit. Explanation. The Outer Space Treaty 1967 prohibits the placement of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction in orbit. Article Oman but does not explicitly prohibit conventional weapons or military defense systems. Option is incorrect because the treaty does not ban all military uses. Only those involved are blemious. Option C is incorrect because the Moon Agreement is not widely ratified and does not govern all space activities. Option D is incorrect because the Unsecurity Council does not have specific authority over individual space defense programs unless treaty violation occurs. Thus, option B is correct. Militarization is limited under international law, but defensive conventional weapons in space remain gray area subject to future negotiations. Question 11. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional failures in coordination, a multinational corporation struggles with aligning cybersecurity policies across different regional offices. Some locations follow stricter compliance regulations than others, causing operational inefficiencies. What is the most effective strategy to create a unified cybersecurity framework? A. Mandate that all regions follow the strictest regulatory requirements, regardless of operational costs. B. Allow each region to develop independent cybersecurity measures to accommodate local needs. C. Develop a global baseline policy with room for regional adaptations that meet compliance needs. D. Rely on voluntary adherence to security best practices without enforcing specific guidelines. Answer. C. Develop a global baseline policy with room for regional adaptations that meet compliance needs. Explanation. A global baseline policy ensures that fundamental cybersecurity measures are standardized while allowing flexibility for local regulatory needs. Option is incorrect because enforcing the strictest rules everywhere may lead to excessive costs and operational inefficiencies. Option B is incorrect because independent security measures could create weak points and inconsistencies in the system. Option D is incorrect because voluntary adherence does not guarantee compliance or effectiveness. Thus, option C is correct. Balancing global security standards with regional flexibility improves both compliance and efficiency. Question 12. During a major transformation where existing methods are being replaced by automated systems, a company faces resistance from employees who fear job displacement. What is the most effective approach to manage this transition? A. Reduce transparency about automation plans to prevent panic. B. Provide reskilling programs and emphasize new opportunities. C. Immediately implement automation without employee input. D. Delay automation to maintain stability, even if it affects competitiveness. Answer. B. Provide reskilling programs and emphasize new opportunities. Explanation. Reskilling programs help employees transition into new roles, making them more likely to embrace automation. Option is incorrect because lack of transparency leads to distrust. Option C is incorrect because sudden changes without engagement can increase resistance. Option D is incorrect because delaying automation may reduce competitiveness. Thus, option B is correct. Supporting employees through training encourages smoother transition. Question 13. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a supply chain, a company notices fluctuating delivery times and inconsistent inventory levels. Which of the following solutions would be the most effective? A. Increase stock levels to buffer against supply chain disruptions. B. Adopt predictive analytics to anticipate and prevent delays. C. Switch suppliers frequently to find the most reliable option. D. Ignore minor inconsistencies to focus only on major disruptions. Answer B. Adopt predictive analytics to anticipate and prevent delays. Explanation. Predictive analytics helps anticipate disruptions before they happen, allowing proactive adjustments. Option A is incorrect because excess inventory increases costs. Option C is incorrect because frequent supplier changes can create instability. Option D is incorrect because minor inconsistencies can compound into larger issues. Thus, option B is correct. Data-driven decision-making enhances supply chain resilience. Question 14. In a situation where resource allocation becomes increasingly difficult due to budget constraints, a hospital must decide how to distribute limited funds between emergency care, preventive medicine, and specialized treatments. What is the most ethical and effective strategy? A. Prioritize emergency care since it addresses immediate life-threatening cases. B. Invest primarily in preventive medicine to reduce long-term healthcare costs. C. Distribute funds equally across all departments to maintain balance. D. Use data analysis to allocate funds based on patient needs and long-term impact. Answer. D. Use data analysis to allocate funds based on patient needs and long-term impact. Explanation. Using data-driven analysis ensures that funds go where they have the greatest impact. Option is incomplete because focusing only on emergencies ignores long-term health benefits. Option B is incorrect because preventive care alone does not address immediate critical needs. Option C is inefficient because equal distribution does not consider actual demand. Thus, option D is correct. Balancing resources based on evidence optimizes patient outcomes. Question 15. During the introduction of new methods where coordination between teams is essential, a global company is transitioning to a hybrid work model. Some departments resist the change, arguing that remote work reduces collaboration. What is the best approach to ensure a smooth transition? A. Mandate an office work to maintain traditional collaboration. B. Allow each department to set its own remote work policies. C. Implement hybrid collaboration tools and structured communication policies. D. Phase out remote work altogether to avoid inconsistencies. Answer. C. Implement hybrid collaboration tools and structured communication policies. Explanation. Hybrid collaboration tools and clear communication policies ensure efficiency while maintaining flexibility. Option is incorrect because forcing an office work disregards employee preferences and productivity benefits. Option B is inconsistent and may create operational silos. Option D is outdated and removes the benefits of remote work. Thus, option C is correct. Technology and structured policy support seamless hybrid model. Question 16. While updating traditional approaches where interconnections between different teams are essential, a company struggles to integrate AI-driven decision-making with human expertise. What is the best strategy to balance these elements? A. Fully replace human decision-making with AI-driven automation. B. Use AI only for repetitive tasks while keeping critical decisions human-led. C. Develop a hybrid model where AI provides insights, but humans make final decisions. D. Avoid AI integration to maintain traditional expertise. Answer. C. Develop a hybrid model where AI provides insights, but humans make final decisions. Explanation. A hybrid model leverages AI for efficiency while ensuring human oversight for complex decisions. Option is too extreme and ignores human judgment. Option B is too limited and does not utilize AI full potential. Option D is resistant to innovation. Thus, option C is correct. Combining AI insights with human expertise leads to optimal decision-making. Question 17. During a seamless transition where continuity must be maintained, a city upgrades its public transportation system to electric buses. What is the best approach to ensure smooth implementation? A. Replace all buses at once to speed up the transition. B. Phase in electric buses gradually while maintaining traditional routes. C. Wait for complete infrastructure readiness before purchasing new buses. D. Convert only a few routes to electric and evaluate later expansion. Answer. B. Phase in electric buses gradually while maintaining traditional routes. Explanation. Phased implementation ensures reliability while adjusting to challenges. Option A. Risk service disruptions. Option C may cause unnecessary delays. Option D limits long-term sustainability. Thus, option B is correct. Gradual implementation balances progress and stability. Question 18. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges affect safety, a construction company introduces autonomous machinery to improve efficiency. What safety measure is most crucial? A. Rely on built-in AI safety protocols. B. Train workers to monitor and override autonomous systems. C. Limit automation to non-critical tasks. D. Mandate that machines operate without human intervention. Answer B. Train workers to monitor and override autonomous systems. Explanation. Human oversight is essential for identifying risks that AI may not detect. Option A is too reliant on automation. Option C underutilizes automation. Option D increases risk. Thus, option B is correct. Training workers ensures safety and efficiency. Question 19. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a manufacturing facility, management notices that increased machine downtime leads to production bottlenecks, delaying order fulfillment. Which solution best addresses the root cause? A. Implementing predictive maintenance using its sensors to detect early machine failures. B. Increasing production quotas to make up for lost time. C. Hiring additional workers to manually intervene when machines fail. D. Extending machine usage beyond recommended maintenance schedules. Answer A. Implementing predictive maintenance using its sensors to detect early machine failures. Explanation. Predictive maintenance prevents unexpected machine failures by detecting issues early, reducing downtime and improving efficiency. Increasing quotas. B. Does not solve machine issues. Hiring more workers. C. Only treats symptoms, not causes. And extending usage. D. Leads to higher failure rates. This question emphasizes the role of predictive maintenance in manufacturing. Question 20. During the introduction of new methods where coordination is key, a large financial institution is rolling out a new fraud detection algorithm. However, different departments have varying criteria for identifying fraudulent transactions, leading to inconsistent enforcement. What is the best approach to align all departments? A. Establishing unified fraud detection guidelines and ensuring company-wide training. B. Allowing each department to continue using its own fraud detection criteria. C. Letting senior executives make fraud-related decisions without department input. D. Disabling fraud detection in departments where inconsistencies arise. Answer A. Establishing unified fraud detection guidelines and ensuring company-wide training. Explanation. Unified guidelines and training ensure consistency, preventing conflicting enforcement and improving fraud detection effectiveness. Letting departments act independently. B. Creates inconsistencies, executive-only decision-making. C. Ignores operational insights and disabling fraud detection. D. Exposes the company to risks. This quote highlights the importance of cross-departmental coordination in financial security. Question 21. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment where different departments rely on legacy systems, a large financial institution is transitioning to blockchain-based transactions. Some departments are resistant due to concerns about security and compatibility. What is the most effective approach to ensure a smooth adoption? A. Force all departments to adopt blockchain technology simultaneously. B. Create a hybrid model where blockchain coexists with legacy systems until full transition. C. Rely on external consultants to enforce blockchain implementation without internal collaboration. D. Allow each department to decide independently whether to adopt blockchain. Answer B. Create a hybrid model where blockchain coexists with legacy systems until full transition. Explanation. A hybrid model enables gradual transition while ensuring compatibility and security. Option A is too aggressive and may cause system failures. Option C lacks internal collaboration, leading to poor adoption. Option D may lead to fragmentation within the organization. Thus, option B is correct. Phased approach balances innovation with operational stability. Question 22. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with practical constraints, a pharmaceutical company must comply with stringent regulations while ensuring fast drug production. What is the best strategy to balance compliance and efficiency? A. Prioritize regulatory compliance even if it delays production. B. Streamline internal processes to meet both compliance and efficiency needs. C. Focus on efficiency first and handle regulatory issues later. D. Outsource production to a country with fewer regulations. Answer B. Streamline internal processes to meet both compliance and efficiency needs. Explanation. Balancing efficiency with compliance ensures smooth operations without legal risks. Option A may result in lost market opportunities. Option C can lead to legal penalties. Option D is unethical and risky. Thus, option B is correct. Improving processes ensures both speed and compliance. Question 23. While examining inconsistencies across various units in a multinational organization, executives discover that regional offices use different performance metrics. How should leadership ensure consistency? A. Standardize performance metrics while allowing minor local adjustments. B. Force all regions to adopt the same metrics without exception. C. Let each region continue using its own metrics to respect local autonomy. D. Eliminate performance metrics to avoid inconsistencies. Answer A. Standardized performance metrics while allowing minor local adjustments. Explanation. A standardized framework with flexibility ensures both consistency and local relevance. Option B is too rigid and may overlook regional needs. Option C creates misalignment in evaluating performance. Option D removes accountability, thus option is correct. Balance between standardization and adaptability is key. Question 24. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a government agency must allocate resources efficiently after a major natural disaster. What is the best approach? A. Distribute resources equally to all affected areas. B. Prioritize the most severely impacted areas based on data. C. Wait for a complete damage assessment before responding. D. Rely on local governments to handle their own resource allocation. Answer B. Prioritize the most severely impacted areas based on data. Explanation. Data-driven prioritization ensures resources go where they are needed most. Option is inefficient. Option C causes delays. Option D may lead to uneven responses. Thus, option B is correct. Data-based decisions maximize impact. Question 25. While managing a hybrid approach where timing issues affect collaboration, a global company struggles with scheduling virtual meetings across multiple time zones. What is the most effective solution? A. Rotate meeting times to accommodate different regions fairly. B. Schedule meetings based on headquarters time zone. C. Only hold meetings during standard business hours for one region. D. Eliminate real-time meetings and rely solely on email. Answer A. Rotate meeting times to accommodate different regions fairly. Explanation. Rotating meeting times ensures fairness across time zones. Option B favors one region. Option C excludes remote teams. Option D reduces real-time collaboration. Thus, option A is correct. Adjusting schedules supports global teamwork. Question 26. In a scenario where efficiency decreases across multiple teams due to communication barriers, a technology firm notices that remote employees struggle with collaboration. What is the best strategy to address this? A. Require all employees to work in the office full-time. B. Invest in better collaboration tools and training. C. Eliminate remote work options entirely. D. Rely on informal communication methods to bridge gaps. Answer B. Invest in better collaboration tools and training. Explanation. Improving tools and training enhances collaboration without eliminating flexibility. Option A removes remote work benefits. Option C reduces talent retention. Option D lacks structure. Thus, option B is correct. Technology and training improve efficiency. Question 27. During a critical transition period where existing processes are being digitized, a hospital is shifting to an electronic health record system. What is the best strategy to ensure a smooth transition? A. Train staff thoroughly while implementing the system in phases. B. Switch all records to digital immediately. C. Keep both digital and paper records indefinitely. D. Let individual departments decide whether to use AIR. Answer A. Train staff thoroughly while implementing the system in phases. Explanation. Gradual implementation with proper training minimizes disruptions. Option B increases errors. Option C is inefficient. Option D creates inconsistency. Thus, option is correct. Phased implementation supports adoption. Question 28. When scaling up operations that experience significant fluctuations in demand, A retail company struggles with inventory management. What is the best approach? A. Use demand forecasting and flexible inventory strategies. B. Stockpile large amounts of inventory to avoid shortages. C. Only order inventory when shelves are nearly empty. D. Focus only on high-demand products and discontinue others. Answer A. Use demand forecasting and flexible inventory strategies. Explanation: demand forecasting helps balance supply and demand efficiently. Option B increases costs. Option C risks stockouts. Option D ignores market diversity. Thus, option A is correct. Data-driven inventory management ensures stability. Question 29. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a logistics company finds inefficiencies in delivery routes. What is the most effective way to optimize them? A. Use route optimization software to improve efficiency. B. Continue using existing routes to maintain consistency. C. Allow drivers to choose their own routes. D. Reduce deliveries to minimize fuel costs. Answer A. Use route optimization software to improve efficiency. Explanation: route optimization software improves efficiency and reduces costs. Option B ignores improvements. Option C reduces standardization. Option D lowers service quality. Thus, option is correct. Technology enhances logistics. Question 30. In a multi-location scenario where consistency requirements vary, a fast food chain must standardize menu items while accommodating regional preferences. What is the best approach? A. Create a core menu with optional regional variations. B. Force all locations to serve the same menu. C. Let each location create its own unique menu. D. Change the menu based on seasonal availability alone. Answer A. Create a core menu with optional regional variations. Explanation: a core menu with flexibility ensures brand consistency while adapting to local tastes. Option B limits customer preferences. Option C reduces brand identity. Option D lacks long-term strategy. Thus, option A is correct. Balancing standardization with customization maximizes success.